You have been waiting for something to finally feel settled. Not perfect. You gave up on perfect a long time ago. Just settled. Just the quiet sense that the ground beneath you is solid. That the life you are living is the one you actually chose. That you can exhale all the way down without something tightening again before you finish. But it never quite comes, and you cannot always explain why. From the outside, people who love you might say your life is fine. And in many ways, it is. You have survived things that required real courage. You have loved people deeply. You have built something, even if it looks different now than you once imagined it would. And yet there is this low, persistent hum of resistance. This sense of being slightly out of step with your own life, as if somewhere along the way, without noticing exactly when, you stopped fully arriving in the moments you were living and started spending most of your time either back in what was, or forward in what might be, or sideways in what should have been different. You are not alone in this, not even close. What I want to offer you today is not a way to fight harder or want less or try to feel something you do not feel. It is something older and quieter than any of that. Something a man discovered over 2,600 years ago, not in a book, not in a temple, but sitting very still beneath a tree, asking one honest question, not, how do I get more? But why can't a human being simply be at peace with what is? Stay with me until teaching number 4. What you hear there may give you something you have been quietly waiting for, not an answer exactly, more like a permission. One you have needed for a very long time. Now breathe. Let these words find you exactly where you are. There is a reason you resist life as it is, and it has nothing to do with weakness. You were shaped, from the time you were very small, by a world that had one consistent message. If something is wrong, fix it. If something hurts, push through it. If something is not what you wanted, want it differently. To accept things as they were was called passivity, resignation, a failure of effort or love or will. And so you learned to fight. You fought for your family, through grief, through disappointment, through the slow and relentless way life kept becoming something different from what you had planned. That fighting came from love. It came from the part of you that refused to give up on the people and the life that mattered to you. But somewhere, over the years, something shifted. The fighting stopped being an act of love and started being a source of pain. The resistance that once felt like strength began to feel like a weight you could not put down. And the life you were working so hard to hold in a particular shape kept changing anyway, regardless of how tightly you held on. Today we begin to look at something different. Not surrender, not pretending the hard things did not happen. Just seeing clearly, seeing what is actually here, and discovering, slowly, that what is actually here is something you can live with. Something you may even, in time, find yourself at peace within. Teaching 1. The pain is real, but most of what follows the pain you added yourself. There is a distinction at the heart of everything we are going to explore today. It is not a complicated distinction, but it is one that, once you truly see it, changes the texture of almost every difficult experience you have. Pain is part of being alive. This is not pessimism. It is simply honesty. The body grows older and slower. The people we love leave through distance, through choice, through death. The plans we made with such care come apart in ways we never anticipated. None of this is punishment. None of this is a sign that something has gone wrong. This is what a human life contains, always has, always will. But suffering, the deep, prolonged kind that follows us through years, that sits at the breakfast table with us, that waits in the silence before sleep, that is something different. And it is something, in large part, that we create. Here is what I mean, and I want you to feel this rather than just understand it. The diagnosis arrives. That is pain, real, undeniable, frightening. But then the mind begins its work. Why is this happening to me? What if it never gets better? I did everything right. This is not fair. What will happen to the people who need me? That entire second layer, that is suffering, and it sits on top of the original pain the way a second injury sits on top of the first, making it almost impossible to know where one ends and the other begins. The friendship ends. That is pain. I should have seen it coming. I must have done something wrong. What does this mean about who I am? What do other people think? Suffering. The years pass differently than you expected. That is pain, and it deserves to be felt honestly. But I wasted them. I cannot get them back. It is too late for me now. Other people figured this out, what is wrong with me. That is the second wound. And unlike the first, which came from life, this one came from you. The Buddhist teaching that grounds all of this asks us, very gently, to do one thing. See what is actually here, without adding to it. Not to stop feeling, not to pretend the pain is not real. Simply to notice when the mind begins to build its story around the pain, and to recognize that story as separate from the thing itself. When something difficult arises today, and something will pause before the story begins. Not for long, just for one breath. And in that breath, ask honestly, is this the pain itself, or is this what I am adding to the pain? You will not always be able to separate them cleanly. That is fine. The noticing alone is enough. The moment of awareness, that tiny space between the event and the story, is where everything begins to shift. The event is one thing. What the mind does with it is something else entirely. And in the space between those two things, there is more room than you might imagine. That room is yours. It has always been yours. You are only now learning to step into it. Teaching. 2. You cannot hold a river still. And somewhere inside you, you already know this. Think of everything you have tried to hold in place over the course of your life. A relationship that was quietly changing while you were not looking. A version of your family that existed once, beautifully, and then became something different. A chapter that had really ended while you were still insisting it was just a pause. We hold on because we love what we have, because the familiar, even when it hurts, carries the weight of everything we invested in it. Because letting something be what it now is rather than what it was, or what we hoped it would become, requires a kind of courage that nobody prepared us for. There was a woman who lived her whole life beside a river. She knew its sound in every season. She knew how it moved in spring, how it slowed in August, how it carried the light on certain afternoons, in a way that made her stop whatever she was doing just to watch. The river was, in the deepest sense, the constant of her life, the thing that stayed while so much else changed. One year, after heavy rains, the river changed course. Slowly at first, then completely. The old bed went dry. The ground she had walked beside for decades became a ditch of cracked earth and dead reeds. She could not accept it. Every morning she returned to where the river used to be and stood at the empty ground. This is not right. This is not how it was. She told her neighbors. She told anyone who would listen. She went back every day, as if her returning would call the water back. A traveling monk found her there one afternoon, standing at the dry bed with tears on her face. He sat beside her without speaking for a long time. Finally he said, "The river did not leave you. It is still a river. It simply found a new way to flow." She looked at him. "But I cannot find it from here." He nodded gently. "No. You will have to leave the old bank to walk with it now. Sit with that for a moment. Your life has changed course, perhaps more than once. Perhaps in ways that still feel like an open wound, a marriage that became something different, children who grew into people you are still learning to know, a version of yourself that existed in another decade and cannot be retrieved. A sense of purpose that once felt clear and has since grown complicated. The question is not whether the river changed. It did. The question is only this: how long will you stand at the old bank? Not forever. You would not be here, listening, if some part of you were not already ready to turn and walk toward where the water actually flows now. The river did not stop being a river, and you have not stopped being alive. The current is somewhere. You only need to be willing to find it. Teaching. 3. You already know everything I am telling you, and yet here you still are. That is not your failure. That is what knowing without seeing looks like. If you are honest, this is the part that quietly frustrates you. You have read the books. You have had the conversations. You believe, in some considered part of yourself, that clinging to what cannot be held causes pain, that the past cannot be changed, that peace is found in the present moment rather than in the rearranging of what has already happened. You believe all of this, and still the grief returns, still the resentment surfaces, still the same wound opens, sometimes years after you were certain it had finally healed, and you wonder quietly, privately, in the way people wonder about things they are slightly ashamed of, whether something is simply wrong with you. Whether you are constitutionally incapable of the peace you keep hearing is available, nothing is wrong with you. The distance between knowing something and actually living it is not a character flaw, it is a bridge, and that bridge is not crossed through more understanding, more reading, more convincing yourself with better arguments. It is crossed through something much quieter and much more patient. There are 3 ways of coming to wisdom. The first is through hearing. We encounter a teaching, we recognize something true in it, we nod. Yes, that makes sense. The second is through reflection. We think it through carefully, we see the logic, we agree. Both of these are genuine and valuable, but neither of them, on their own, changes how we actually move through a Tuesday afternoon when something difficult happens. The third way is different. It is wisdom that comes through direct experience, through sitting still long enough to actually watch the breath arrive and leave. Through noticing, not in the mind but somewhere beneath the mind, that feelings move through us the way weather moves through an open field. That the anger that felt permanent this morning has softened by afternoon. That the sadness that seemed bottomless last week has, without any effort, become something quieter and more bearable. That everything, every single thing is more changeable than we believed when we were inside it. This kind of knowing cannot be read into existence. It has to be lived into. And you do not need a retreat or a formal practice or any particular setting. You need one moment, genuinely just one, of watching something without immediately explaining it to yourself. A feeling arising and passing, the breath moving in and out without your management, the light in a room changing as the afternoon shifts. In that one honest moment, something in the body understands what the mind has been trying to convince itself of for years. Knowing is a map. Seeing is the territory. You have been holding the map for a long time. What you are learning now is how to actually walk the ground. Teaching. 4. You were never failing to accept life. You were trying to accept it all at once, and no one ever told you that was impossible. This is what I promised you at the beginning, and I want you to receive it not as information, but as what it actually is: permission. There is a particular kind of suffering that belongs specifically to people who are trying to heal, who are sincerely, earnestly working toward acceptance and peace and letting go. And it goes like this. Something finds them. A photograph in a drawer. A song that belonged to a particular chapter. A smell. A street. An anniversary. An ordinary afternoon that carries the ghost of another one. And in an instant, everything they thought they had worked through, the peace they thought they had found, the acceptance they thought they had arrived at, dissolves. And they are standing in the kitchen with tears on their face, feeling exactly as raw as they did years ago. And the voice comes, "What is wrong with me? I thought I was past this. Why can't I just let go?" That voice is not wisdom. That voice is cruelty dressed up as self-awareness, and I want to speak to it directly. The ache that returns when something beloved finds you unexpectedly is not evidence of failure. It is not proof that you have not healed or that you never will. It is not a sign that all your work has been undone. It is proof, clean and simple, that you loved something real. It is your humanity arriving. Honest and slightly inconvenient and completely trustworthy, to remind you that what you loved mattered. The problem was never the feeling. The problem was the belief that true acceptance means the feeling stops coming. It does not. It never did, and it was never supposed to. There was an old gardener who had tended the same garden for 40 years. She knew every corner of it, with the kind of knowledge that lives in the hands rather than the head. She had planted and pruned and waited through 40 springs, coaxed things from the ground through long winters, learned which plants needed more and which needed less, which ones came back reliably and which ones surprised her. The garden was not just something she tended. It was, in some quiet and unspoken way, part of who she was. One spring, a late frost came overnight and took everything. Every flower she had brought through the cold months. Every green thing she had been watching for weeks, waiting for it to open. Gone by morning, blackened and collapsed, the whole of it. Her neighbor came to find her standing at the garden gate, very still, not crying, just standing. "Are you not devastated?" he asked. She was quiet for a long moment, the kind of quiet that is not empty but full. "I am," she finally said. "I sat with that this morning. I let myself be completely devastated." "And then?" he asked. She opened the gate and walked into the garden, and then I came to see what the soil still has in it. She did not pretend the frost had not come. She did not perform acceptance before she had actually moved through the grief. She did not tell herself it was fine when it was not fine. She felt the full, honest weight of the loss, and then, when the feeling had moved through her the way it needed to, without being hurried or suppressed, she turned toward what remained. Not what was gone, what remained. That is what acceptance actually looks like. Not the absence of grief. The presence of someone willing to feel the grief fully without adding the second wound of self-judgment on top of it. And then when they are ready, not before turning toward what is still here. Acceptance is not a destination you arrive at and stay in. It is not a mountain summit. It is a way of walking through every season, through every unexpected frost, through every loss you did not see coming, without demanding that spring arrive before it is ready. The next time the old grief finds you again, and it may, because you loved something real, do not reach for shame. Reach for this instead. The feeling is moving through you. Let it move. You are not failing. You are not going backward. You are simply being human, in the full and tender meaning of that word. That is not something to fix. That is something to honor. Teaching. 5. The body you have been arguing with is not your enemy, it is your oldest home. Most of what we have talked about today lives in the mind, but I want to come somewhere closer now, somewhere more immediate. Because for many of us, especially those of us who have been on this earth long enough to feel it changing the deepest, most daily resistance to life as it is does not live in thought. It lives in the body, the morning stiffness that greets you before you are fully awake. The medication on the nightstand that was not there 5 years ago. The face in the mirror that carries time in it now, that belongs to someone older than you feel on the inside, older than the person you still somehow expect to see looking back. The things your body used to do without asking, and now does slowly, or with effort, or not at all. We speak to our bodies as if they have let us down, as if they made a promise and broke it. And underneath that frustration, if we sit with it honestly, is something older and sadder than frustration, a resistance to time itself. A quiet refusal to accept that this life moves in one direction only, and that the body tells the truth about that, in ways the mind can deny for only so long. The Buddhist teaching I want to offer here is the simplest of all the teachings. It is simply this: be present in the body you actually have, not the body you had at 40, not the body you are hoping to have after you lose the weight, or do the exercises, or recover from the procedure. This body, right now, with all its creaks and limitations and unexpected tenderness, there is a difference, a real and felt difference between a body you are at war with and a body you are living inside. One exhausts you from the moment you wake up. The other, slowly and imperfectly, begins to feel like something you can inhabit again. Something that is carrying you through your life, rather than fighting against it. When did you last place your hands on your own arm or your own face with something like care? When did you last thank your legs, not in words necessarily, but in the way you moved through a room without bracing against the slowness for carrying you through another day? When did you last breathe all the way down, slowly, not because you were trying to do it correctly, but simply because you allowed yourself to be here, in this body, without the running commentary of everything it is no longer able to do? Try something small today. Just once. Place your hands somewhere on your body where you feel discomfort or tension. Not to fix it, not to will it away, just to rest your hands there and acknowledge, very quietly, I am here. You are here. We have been through a great deal together, you and I. That small act of accompaniment toward yourself, toward this body that has carried you through every hard thing you have ever survived, is not a minor thing. It is, in the deepest sense, the practice of acceptance made physical, made real. Your body is not betraying you. It is aging alongside you, the way everything you have ever loved has changed alongside you. The question is not whether it will change. It will. The question is whether you will make peace with it while there is still time to live inside it with something like grace. Teaching 6. Accepting what is does not close the door on what could be. It is the only thing that opens it. There is a fear I want to speak to directly, because it may have been sitting quietly in you through everything we have discussed today. It is the fear that says, if I accept things as they are, does that mean I stop hoping for something better? Does it mean the losses were okay? Does it mean I settle for less than I deserve? This fear is not foolish. It comes from a genuine place, and it has kept more people from peace than almost any other misunderstanding I can think of. So let me say it as plainly as I can. Accepting life as it is does not mean your desires were wrong. It does not mean the hard things that happened to you were acceptable or deserved. It does not mean you stop working towards something better, stop reaching for what matters, stop believing that tomorrow can be genuinely different from today. It means only this one thing. You stop making your peace conditional on the present moment being different than it is. You can grieve what was lost and still be open to what comes. You can acknowledge the disappointment of this chapter and still believe in the next one. You can hold the sadness of what did not work out and still walk toward something new, not despite the sadness, but carrying it lightly as part of the full experience of a life actually lived. Think of a sailor who has learned the sea over many decades. She does not pretend the storms are not coming. She does not anchor herself to the dock because the water is sometimes rough. But she has been out in enough weather, has sat through enough nights when she was not certain what morning would bring to have made a kind of peace with the sea itself. Not because the sea became safe, because she stopped requiring it to be. She reads the sky. She adjusts her sails when the wind shifts. She waits when waiting is what the moment calls for. And she moves when moving is what is needed. And through all of it, she is not afraid of the water. She is in conversation with it. Equanimity, the steady, grounded quality that the Buddhist teachings point toward, is not detachment from your life. It is not floating somewhere above it, untouched by what happens. It is the quality of someone who has learned to be present in the full weather of their experience without being swept away by any particular storm. Someone who can feel the grief without becoming only grief. Who can feel the fear without letting it make all the decisions. You are allowed to hope. You are allowed to want. You are allowed to reach toward a tomorrow that looks different from today. Acceptance only asks that you stop postponing your peace until that tomorrow arrives. Because it is always arriving. And the life you have right now, imperfect, unfinished, still in the middle of its own becoming, deserves to be inhabited fully, today as it is. Teaching 7. Come home. This moment, this ordinary, imperfect, unrepeatable moment was always yours. Everything we have walked through today comes to rest here, in the simplest place, not a concept, not a practice to perfect over time, just this breath, this room, this life, as it actually is, right now. The Buddha's final words, as they were remembered and preserved, were not about doctrine or the heights of spiritual attainment. They were simply, all things change. Work out your peace with diligence, not when everything is resolved, not when the grief has finished and the questions have been answered. Now, with what is here. In this breath, in this moment, we spend so much of our lives somewhere other than where we are. We are in, last year, replaying conversations we cannot change. We are in 5 years from now, bracing for things that may never happen. We are in the version of our lives that was supposed to unfold. Measuring the distance between that imagined life and this actual one, and feeling the gap as a kind of failure, and the life we actually have, the one unfolding right now, in this specific afternoon, with these specific people and this particular light, and all the small, unremarkable beauty of an ordinary day moves past us, unwitnessed and unclaimed. I think of a woman who spent many years waiting for her real life to begin, waiting for the children to be grown, for the difficult marriage to resolve itself one way or another, for the financial worry to lift, for the right moment to finally exhale and say, now it is mine. Now I can begin. And one afternoon, a Tuesday, nothing special, the kind of day that does not announce itself, she was sitting in her kitchen with a cup of tea going cool in her hands. The light was coming through the window at a low angle, the way it does in late afternoon. The house was quiet. There was nothing particularly beautiful happening and nothing particularly wrong. And she stopped waiting. Not because anything had changed, not because the hard things had resolved or the losses had stopped mattering, something much simpler than that. She looked at what was actually in front of her, the light on the kitchen table, the warmth of the cup between her palms, the sound of the house, its particular settling, and she understood, with a quietness that surprised her in its completeness, that this was not the waiting room, this was the room. This ordinary, imperfect, completely unremarkable Tuesday afternoon was her life. Not the preparation for her life. Her life, and it had been her life all along, every day that she had been somewhere else in her mind, every day she had been waiting for it to finally deserve her full attention. She set down the cup. She looked at the light for another moment, and she arrived. That is all acceptance finally is. Not a grand transformation, not a permanent state of peace you achieve and then maintain. Just the act of arriving again and again, in each ordinary moment, without requiring the moment to be something other than what it is. What if this moment, right now, is not a waiting room? What if the peace you have been searching for is not past some future resolution, not on the other side of some final letting go, not waiting for you to be more healed or more ready or more finished with your grief? What if it is here, in this breath, asking only one thing? Stop leaving. Come back. You are allowed to be home. Today you walked through 7 understandings that have waited a long time to reach you. You learned that the second wound, the story the mind builds around the pain, is the one you have the power to lay down. You learned that the river changed course, and the old bank will not call the water back, no matter how long you stand there. You learned that knowing and seeing are 2 different countries, and the road between them is walked one honest breath at a time. You learned, and perhaps this will stay with you the longest, that acceptance is not a destination you arrive at once and remain in forever. It is a way of moving through every season, every loss, every unexpected frost, without demanding that spring arrive before it is ready. You learned that the grief returning does not mean you have failed, that the ache you feel when something beloved finds you again is proof not of weakness but of love. You learned that your body deserves to be inhabited with something like care, not fought with like an enemy. You learned that hope and acceptance are not at odds, that you can reach toward a different tomorrow while making genuine peace with today. And you learned that this moment, this quiet and ordinary and utterly unrepeatable moment, was always yours. It was only waiting for you to come home to it. There is only one thing left, not a decision you have to make perfectly, not a transformation you need to earn. Just one small act today, before this day is done, of meeting your life as it actually is. Not as it was, not as it should have been, as it is, with all its imperfection and all its quiet, unannounced grace. That is where freedom lives, not somewhere you have not yet reached, here. Before you go, tell me one thing. What is something you have been arguing with for too long? You do not need to have resolved it. You do not need to be ready to release it. Simply naming it here, in the comments, in this space where you are not alone in what you carry, is already a kind of beginning. Your words may be exactly what someone else needed to find today. They matter more than you know. If these words met you where you needed them, come walk with us, subscribe, and let us keep finding our way back to ourselves, one conversation at a time, together. And as you return to your day, go gently with yourself. The war you have been quietly fighting with your life, you are allowed to lay it down. Not all of it at once. Not perfectly, just a little. Just today. That is enough. You are enough. We will walk together again soon.